Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach and welcome to the weekend preview. The teams are out and there's a few real talking points from those teams. Not a great deal of movement. A few might be affected, but the big one is definitely Hugh Greenwood and what we do with him. Disappointing that he's been rested. He's been an unbelievable cash cow. I'll talk about him in a moment, but otherwise, Andy Otten returns, if that helps anyone these days. Myers, likewise, probably not that relevant. Gary Ablett is out. That may hurt a few. Dane Beams is back in. Will that help anyone? We'll see. Joel Selwood is back in. That'll help all owners of him, as well as people trying to get him when he really drops in a couple of weeks' time. Other than that, I don't think there was anything absolutely major. I mean, Sandilands is out. We knew that already. Bruce has been named on an extended bench. Will he play? We'll wait and see. But otherwise, it looks all pretty reasonable. So, 2 points from this weekend that I think we really need to look at. Trades-wise, I think if you've got between 6 and 10, that's about fine. If you've got a couple extra, you're doing well, but you're also probably a little bit behind the 8 ball in terms of how many premiums you got in the field. If you've got a little bit less than 6, you're floating around 3 or 4. Look, you're cutting it fine, but I'd hope that your team is finalised with 22, maybe 23 premiums. So it's not about how many trades you've got left, but how many premiums are on your field, because that'll be a reflection of how efficiently you've traded in order to use your trades to get to those premiums quickly enough and, efficiently enough. So, Hugh Greenwood, what do we do? The other key talking point is Alex Witherwho of the Brisbane Lions. I can hear you wouldn't know who he is. If you walked in him in the street, you wouldn't know who he is. But he's a very talented player, was a pretty high pick. He's getting a very good go at Brisbane. He scored 76 and 91 and finding plenty of the ball. After his first game, one of my good mates barracks for the Lions, he said young Witherwho was taking most of the kickouts, which is a huge responsibility for a young man. And that showed true in his second game, winning plenty of the pill. I think it was 29, 30 touches. So he is a must. Now, he's priced at $117,000. You can pick him up in the back line or the midfield. So I think he must be a guy that we all look at, whether that's trading out Jake Barrett, who he was actually an out that I didn't mention before, whether it's trading out him, or you've got Zach Fisher, or, one of those guys who is a reasonable cash cow, has done his job, but is now clearly peaked and is no longer relevant for our side. So I definitely think Witherden is a man we've just got to bring in, because he's scoring and he's going to make stacks of cash. I've talked about in the past that finding these cash cows midway through the season are just golden. So we cannot afford to miss him there. So I would definitely be bringing him in. I would not bring him in for Hugh Greenwood. Greenwood still has a break-even of -7, and he will come back into the side. He's only been rested. He'll come back into the team. Disappointing that he's been rested, of course, but he's still got plenty of coin to make. He's scoring solid 80s to 90s in the odd ton, as well as the fact that he still could have, all dependent on his scoring, but minimal 60,000 left to make. He'll go up to 400,000, and he's going to be a perfect, easy upgrade to perhaps our final premium mid spot. So I definitely feel that we shouldn't get rid of Greenwood unless you're going to cop a 0, which hopefully one of your 3 reserves on the midfield bench is playing for you. So I think that's definitely a clear message, is to keep Greenwood but find a way to get him with it. Hopefully you can make a little bit of coin. If you got to go a bloke who's only made you a little bit, like Myers or whoever it may be, then I still think you've got to bring him in. Otherwise, it's pretty much the usual trading of guys who have peaked or fellas that you feel have fallen as low as they're going to fall in regards to premiums. But I don't feel there's a huge need to trade like crazy unless, you really got your eyes on a few players, because I think Selwood isn't far from dropping. Of course, he's got an enormous break even. There are quite a few guys who are going to be very appealing in a week or two. You might have your sights set on Dane Zorko this week. He may well drop again. Max Gawn, I think, is worth talking about. There's a lot of talk about Max and whether we should get rid of him for, say, Nankervis. And there's even been talk about do I trade off Brodie Grundy or Stephen Martin or something like that? And it's a really interesting discussion point because what you've got there are two premium ruckmen. They're A-grade ruckmen, but you're looking at Max Gawn, who is priced at $510,000 and is just an A-plus ruckman, a genuine superstar. We all know that. He's come back and hasn't missed a beat. 113 and 96. I say he hasn't missed a beat, but he probably isn't quite at his very best. So, look, do we get on board? I wouldn't throw out your trading plans to get him. If you have to do it, if you really feel like you've got that luxury to do it, and maybe you've still got Jared Witts or something, or Nankervis is frustrating you, then do it. But I wouldn't put him as an absolute must. Break even at 95. I would doubt that he's going to go absolutely huge. I know he's capable of that, but that's generally when he's got a fair bit of fitness behind him. I would imagine he's going to score somewhere between the 90 and 120. So he's still going to be quite gettable next week. Maybe you just see how he goes. I wouldn't be rushing to do it. I think getting him Witherwho is a far more appealing choice. And it's tough, Looking at my situation, I've got Stephen Martin, Brodie Grundy. I'm probably just going to have to roll with them. Will I lose 10 to 12 points not having Gawn each week? Potentially I will. But I'm probably going to need that trade. Trading in Gawn is a bit of a luxury trade. Nankervis was back to a bit of form. Hopefully he can keep that going. I think Gawn is a luxury trade. So like I talked off the top with the trading, if you are in that bracket that you've got 9, 10, 11 trades, then you can probably do it. But if you're in the lower end where you've got 5 or 6, I definitely wouldn't be doing it because you'll cop the odd injury towards the end of the season. A bloke will be rested. You'll have emergency trades. And I feel like Gawn is a luxury trade. So assess it. Have a look at how you're seeing your trades down the track. If you feel like you're going to have to do it or you can afford to do it, then by all means, getting Max Gawn in at 510 is a definitely good buy. Other than that, I just tread a little bit carefully. So while we are speaking on the ruck, I nearly forgot this man, Sean Darcy. Very, very good scoring from the young man. I think he scored 60-odd in his first game maybe, but yeah, 50 it was, and then 99 last week. Of course, Sandilands is out for the year. Could be a very good option. In the ruck, he's 117k. Again, it's a bit luxury and a little bit on whether Bruce gets actually named this week. So wait until the final teams come out for those Sunday matches later tonight and then take a look. Because I think if Bruce isn't named, then again, when is he going to be named? So you could potentially go get the 150k by trading down to Darcy. But again, it all is dependent on whether you need that 150k. If this is round 6 and we do it, lock him in, there's a cash cow. But at this stage, we've got to get to it where we think about, okay, so my team needs 2 more upgrades. I need 300k to do that because this bloke's fallen and Selwood's going to be at this price roughly. I've got 54k in the bank. I need to find, your 250 from somewhere else, maybe 280 just to be sure. And then you assess your situation. Who have I got on the bench? Do I have Greenwood who I can trade down? Is Mountford there who's going to go up a little bit and trade down? Or is Bruce just someone that I can afford to hold on to because he may play later in the year? If you can see that you've already got coin on your other benches, I would be more in the camp of just leaving Bruce. Even though Darcy's going to go really well, I just feel if you burn a trade where it's more so insurance money, because let's face it, you're probably not going to play your ruck 3 at any stage in the season. If one of your best 2 ruckmen goes down, you're using an emergency trade to bring in a premium, unless they're out for 1 week. Then you might think about it. But I would more likely imagine, particularly later in the season, we'd just go, oh, bugger it. Martin's out. He might be 1, he might be 2. I've got 3 trades left. I can get Gawn. I can get so-and-so. Bang, trade. Insurance in the ruck, probably not as important. So, look, I'd have to say, assess your situation. So, that pretty much sums it up for the week, is assess your situation because everyone's going to be different. There's going to be different plans for different coaches because some will have more trade, some will have more coverage on certain lines, closer to a full side than others, blah, blah, blah. So, just assess it. How many premiums do you need to get to top off our completed side? and then assess how much money you've got floating around on the bench, where you could trade down sooner. You know, all those things that come into a calculation of getting our way to our complete side with 3 to 4 trades left and a bit of coin maybe, just to give us a bit of a cushion in case a few injuries hit us late in the season. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Much appreciated as always. Hopefully get this one up a little bit after lunch on your Friday. A little bit later, but that's just the way it goes. So thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we can click over to 900 subscribers very soon. I'd really appreciate that. And all the best for your week in SuperCoach. I'll be back, of course, next week, probably Sunday night, Monday, somewhere around there, to recap how my side went. So again, thanks for joining me. I'll catch you later.